That's it. Everyday Money Matters. And welcome to Nairametrics Everyday Money Matters on Lagos Talks 91.3 FM. Nairametrics, as you know, is Nigeria's leading destination for business, financial, and economic news and information. Content includes breaking news and analysis, coverage of capital and money markets, financial literacy, and personal business. Financial literacy is something that's very important to all of us because, hey, that's the only way we can get our lives together and understand what's happening in our country. So let's welcome our guests this morning, Olumide and Loretta. Good morning to you. How are you doing?
Good morning. We're doing good.
Okay.
Your voice does.
Yeah, hi. Loretta, you were saying?
Sorry, go on.
All right. So
Okay.
such cheerful faces this morning. I mean, you guys deal with money, so maybe I just should pray to be in your positions because it seems that when you deal with money, you're a happier person.
Doesn't seem so.
All right, so let's go straight into it. With Coinbase launching on NFT marketplace, what are your expectations for NFT? Are you projecting a boom like it is in DeFi? Basically, what is all the fuss about? That's all. Illuminate. Can you answer that?
Yeah, I think there's no news that NFT is gaining momentum. In fact, it's now an argument if it has already gone mainstream because you need to understand that the fact that it has unique functionalities and the world is going digital makes the access so easy. And Coinbase being the world's most valuable crypto exchange, joining the free is not surprising because you see the likes of MasterCard, Visa, and many sporting brands already offering such functionality. Tells you that the opportunities are so immense. And the interesting thing about NFTs is that the opportunities are wider than you think. Look at the digital art industry where we see a lot of forged works and the fact that artists could not really track their collection. With NFTs, it becomes easier. Marriages are done on smart contracts these days. Now we see that you can also get your real estate documents by NFTs, and you see the advantage of it is that you can't forge NFTs. You can't forge the real asset based on such fundamentals. So it's really gaining momentum. But you see, my concern is that despite the fact that it has so much great potentials, we are seeing a growing amount of concern. In fact, that basically almost everybody is going into the space with questioning fundamentals. So
right.
The thing we advise investors are that you need to look at when you are going into the NFT space, you need to always understand that how you pick investment assets is also the ways you look at NFTs. You look at one's real use case scenario, you look at the team behind it, and you ensure that it has good historicals. Thank you.
All right, then that's great. Now, let's come to the IMF a bit. And it has trimmed its forecast for world growth. Although it said about a few weeks ago, I think that it changed the forecast of Nigeria's the economy for the end of the year. Now, what are the expectations for Nigeria, the economy, and what does that really mean to us?
Yeah, I think to be fair, it's not surprising because you need to understand that inflation has eroded. Inflation is making big headlines after COVID-19, and it has somehow eroded the middle class earnings. And you also need to understand that Nigeria is not well positioned in the many quarters because our major export earning is not at full capacity. You need to understand that we are producing about 40% below capacity. So it means that the country needs to start tightening their spending, and that's what the same thing the African Development Bank executive, I'm talking of additionals mentioned earlier in Abuja, advising the government that this is the time they need to be concerned about debt servicing to GDP, because I think it's moving at around 75%. To spending, that's 75%. That's a whole lot. But when you look at debt ratio to GDP, a lot of people miss the headline. So it also tells us that now we need to be very disciplined. And for people listening to my voice, it tells you that this is a time for you to start taking deleveraging concerns. So what does it mean? it means that you need to start saving more. You need to start exposing yourself less to risky assets, and also the fact that it's most likely the naira will be devalued because we've seen in many quarters that the exchange rate looks very overvalued.
So it will be
It's
for the
expected to. It's expected to. Yeah, it's expected to because honestly, we can't really go at this metric. If you compare to other markets, you see that the naira is fairly strong, and the naira has no reason to be in that risk because we are commodity based. And despite the growing inflation and the fact that we have a little dollar exposure, though in recent times our foreign exchange earnings have our foreign exchange reserves are tilting toward 40 billion in asset management, but it tells you that we still around market liquidity as far as dollar is concerned. So at some point, the Apex Bank will have to devalue or adjust the naira.
All right, okay, let's ask a bit. Now, what ETFs can one buy in Nigeria or elsewhere that have exposure to commodities? And the reason I'm asking is because it seems to me that commodity prices will soar.
Yeah, commodity prices are always soaring. If you look at crude oil prices, for example, has gained more than 30% in 7 weeks, and that's not surprising. But for those that have been following Nairametrics articles, you won't be surprised that we have gold ETFs, or I won't want to mention names, but we have gold ETFs. And for crude oil, one of the most interesting part of it is that though we don't have direct on that, but we have companies exposed to that. So, for example, investing in upstream stocks or the ETFs will give you such exposure. But right now, most of these stocks are traded at a premium. So when you come in, you should be ready for drawdowns.
All right.
Now things are at record high. Crude oil prices are already at around $4 a barrel.
And expected to go higher and higher than that before the year comes to an end. Now, let's bring Loretta in. The Vice President suggested that the CBN should float the FX rates. Of course, he spoke about it yesterday, but from your point of view, I may clarify what he said yesterday, but from your point of view, does this mean that Naira would be further devalued?
Well, not to put words in his mouth, what the Vice President had said is that our exchange rate should be reflective of market realities. So, and this is following what the CBN has said about the I&A window being the only one they recognize. So, in essence, what you're saying is basically there needs to be a way to curb loopholes in arbitrage. For example, somebody goes to the bank and buys at a lower rate, then goes to the black sell at sometimes up to 40% more or even higher. We need to find a way to close that gap. And obviously, you're not going to control the black market rate. You don't have no control over that. So I would say the best way to put it is that he's advocating for is that there should be some kind of adjustments. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And and I believe that's necessary, judging from what he said.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let me go back to Olumide on this. What is the update on the e-Naira? It has been almost 14 days since the currency was supposed to have been launched. And I have some questions also from some of our listeners. But what's the current state before I bring in any other question on that?
Okay, I think people should be a bit patient because you need to understand that this is the first project in Africa, and you see projects like this, you don't, apart from the fact that the CBN was a bit fast on the integration, I think we need to give them some time. And I think if you look at the banks are doing a good job. They're already enlightening their customers. Take a look at Stanbic, Access, and the world's Nigeria's most valuable bank. I'm talking of GT. It's already highlighting its customers on how to go about it. So the integration on infrastructure is a good concern, and the fact that we are seeing that the PR around it is gaining momentum. So the doomsayers have said that this is something that is dead on arrival. I think they have the amount handful. They have a lot to hold on to, but the fact is that this thing is coming in a few days because over the weekend, the CBN's PR mentioned that he mentioned some of the things around the INA, the fact that the Apex Fund would ensure more financial inclusion and the fact that it has robust functionality. So I'm so excited about it and I look forward to the launch. I think by October, before the end of the month, because they said in coming days. So coming days might mean a week or two. So, but I think in October we should see a direct impulse from the Naira program.
Okay, I see that now. Now, before I have another question on the e-Naira, but before I take that, let's just take this short break, and when we come back, we'll continue with our discussion. This has been Everyday Money Matters.
This is Lagos Talks.
All right, so I guess I can come in with a question of the guy on e-money, right?
Wealth and financial stability.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's saying that what would be the implication on banks' profitability? That's the question.
Okay.
That's the first one. Then the other one doesn't have much to do with the e-Naira. It says Everyday Money Matters. What's the implication of the statement made by the Vice President on the Naira and dollar exchange?
Okay.
Do I ask the two together or do I ask separately?
No, you can ask it together. It's fine.
Okay. All right then.
Investment options ranging from federal government bonds, treasury bills, and so much more, all accessible from your SC mobile app. Don't have our app? Download from your mobile app store today to access investment opportunities. Start now and secure your family's future. For more information, please send an email to callcenter.nigeria@sc.com or call our call center on 01-270-4611 or toll free on 0800-123-5000. Standard Chartered Bank, here for good. From Nigeria's cultural melting pot. It's Lagos Talks 91.3.
All right, this is Lagos Talks 91.3 FM, and we're saying welcome back. So let me go straight to you, Olamide, and I have two questions for you from our listeners. One says, Everyday Money Matters, what's the implication of the statement made by the Vice President on the Naira and dollar exchange? Now, there's no name attached to that. Then the second one from Larry says that what would be the likely implications of e-Naira on banks' profitability?
Okay. The first, let me start with the latter. The direct implication the e-Naira will have on the on banks' profitability in the net time. I think, to be fair, there won't be much, but in the long term, yeah, it will have great impact, because you need to understand that banks have to generate money, interest from interest income and non-interest income, and you see transactions also play a major role. But if you look at the e-Naira fundamental, one of the strong selling points is that it has reduced transaction charges. So at some point, it means the bank will have to evolve towards that area, and also it brings in more players into the ecosystem. You see, merchants, payment service providers also will have enabling functionality around transaction in that ecosystem. So it makes the banks competitive. But I think, to be fair, I think our banks are already well positioned. We could see that they're already diversifying. Take a look at First Bank, GT. They're already investing in their internet infrastructure. I'm talking in terms of their online banking and stuff like that, First Money and what have you. But so I think they are well positioned to take advantage of that. But the thing is just that any bank that seems sleeping, I think would have itself to blame. So on the second question, I think, to be fair, what the vice president was saying was just that the Naira was overvalued, which we understand. But you see, the thing about what people need to understand is that these things come at a cost. Why the CBN is talking about devaluing the currency now is that, you see, it's going to push a lot of people to the poverty line. Don't forget that we have over 90 million Nigerians that are statutory on the poverty level. And you need to understand that when you devalue a currency, it means that the purchasing power of those citizens become lower. So it has the fact that you want to attract inflows from Western countries to the country because of they want a fair exchange rate. You also need to understand that the people that you're serving are on not having things easy with rising energy prices. And you can also see that it's also affecting emerging markets like London and United States. So I think it's a very tricky fundamental for the Apex Bank to act. But at some point, we expect that devaluation will have to take place. It's just that the middle class would suffer much more because of erosion of purchasing income.
All right. Okay. let me ask you another question here. It says, are there any growth stocks as opposed to dividend-paying stocks in the NGX that I can invest in? That's a question for you as well.
Okay. To be honest with you, it's not as easy as said, because we don't really have most of these growth stocks. You find them around the tech sector or disruptive sectors. That's why we see stocks like Tesla, Facebook, and stocks like Google. But in Nigeria, one of the problems we have is that our startups don't really have a direct exposure on the stock market. So what I advise people is that if you really want to go into that route, you have to go to the private equity or the secondary market. But on the Nigerian stock market, we don't really have such, because one of the criteria of this thing you must have some form of maturity in your business. So I think until that evolve round and we allow startups to start taking such apply, then it's very hard to say we have good stocks. So most of the stocks we have are mature dividend paying stocks and the established ones. So that's the truth of the story. Thank you.
Okay. I have a message here from Tuburu in Warri. He says, I'm a customer with a first generation bank. I tried to transfer $6,000 for a business transaction through my online banking app, but I couldn't. I also went to the bank to do it manually, but I was told that certain levels of approvals will be needed. I'm feeling frustrated. What can I do?
No, you shouldn't be frustrated. I think I've experienced such issues. The thing you need to understand is that I think it's a three-way thing. First of all, if you have a good relationship with your relationship manager, that would have been sorted, or your bank manager, that would have been sorted, because we have tiers. So first of all, because of money laundering and the fact that we see people abusing the banking channel, so we see some restrictions. So first of all, if you have good concerns, and all you need to do is talk to your relationship manager or the bank manager, then you need to understand that what you really want to use the funds for also qualify. So for example, if there are brackets, if the funds you want to use the funds for doesn't qualify for such transaction, it won't be approved. So I think it's nothing. There's no cost to fear. All you need to do is speak to your relationship manager or your bank manager, or better still, call the customer care head office to be sorted out.
I see. All right. So there's a solution for you, Tuguru. Thank you for listening. Now, let me come over to Loretta. AgriTech companies that have insurance companies backing them. Does this mean insurance companies are backing the investment they make for us, or they're just backing the firm?
Okay, my first instinct would be to ask. So you might go on the company's platform and they say we've backed our silo something, and then you just assume that they've backed everything. So first instinct is, when you are not sure, ask the platform. However, what I can say is, from my knowledge, or at least the ones I've interacted with, most of them back the investments made on the farm. In other words, yes, they are backing the principal investments. They are not backing the interest, so you're not going to expect the interest if anything goes wrong. But yeah, the idea is to back the investments on the farm in case anything goes wrong for specific things, apparently. Yeah.
So it means that the farmer is protected to a large extent over certain issues.
So more like, yeah.
Okay. All right.
And
go on.
Yeah.
All right then. So let me still stay with you, Loretta. Someone says, I just moved out of Lagos to Abuja and I listen to the podcast frequently. Any idea of a business that can get me 100,000 Naira monthly in Abuja? Loretta.
If you listen to at least this show frequently, you will know how many times this question has been answered. And it's not from a point of what can I do in the world to get me 100,000 Naira. It is what opportunities are available, what do I know how to do, and where's the market for it? So how do I find a place that will be willing to pay me for this thing? So you can get 100,000 anything at all. It just depends on what you know how to do and how you can apply yourself for the opportunities in that space. Yeah.
Okay, so person just needs to look within and discover what opportunities are and what you can offer. Okay. All right. Let me go to
the next one.
Take that again. I didn't hear that.
No, that's fine. I'll give you an example.
Oh yeah, please go ahead with the example.
So if you know how to cook, the objective is how do I turn that cooking skill to money? That's it.
Okay, all right, okay, that's good. So now let me go to Olumide. Why has First Bank shares been rallying up over the past few weeks? What's the magic behind it?
Yeah, it's exciting. If you follow our articles or you subscribe to newsletter, you won't be so shocked. But just for the narrative explanation, I'll tell you simply. The Apex Bank about over 100 days ago, restructured the board due to some systemic concerns, and we see that investors are in support of what is happening. And you need to also understand that First Bank has really optimized its exposure in the financial ecosystem by launching some decent programs, especially First Money. It's an online platform that gives a lot of people access to banking activities, and that has also increased leverage across spectrum. So investors are also looking at that as a startup and valuing it at about $1.5 billion. So if you look at First Bank's total market value, that's even less than a quarter. So it shows that there are so many upsides. So I think the positivity around it is strong. Also, you need to also consider that the Apex Bank at some point will taper the economy. And when the economy is tapered, it means that banks' interest income earnings will rise. So that's some form of positivity. So investors are keen on that stock relatively. And that's why the stock has risen so much since its low during the saga.
All right, okay. So let me come to Loretta with this question. I don't know how you're going to answer because I'm just reading the question and I'm wondering, what is the solution? Now, the person says, I want to earn more money, but my job isn't paying as much, but it provides more opportunities. How can I earn more money? I work in finance and I'm under 30 years. Loretta.
Okay, well, that sounds like me in that's how it was when I started my career, rather. So I understand you're in a job that doesn't pay you as much, but then you get some certain benefits from it. What I would say is, how much time do you have available to you, and what can you do with that time? So you want to stay within that job. That's what you're saying. You want to stay. It's not like you want to resign and go and start your business. So how much time do you have? Is it 5 days less? And what can you commit yourself to in that period that will yield results? But eventually, it still boils down to what I had said earlier about you want to make more money. You want to increase your sources of income or changes, and in this case, you know how to work other opportunities. So yeah, that's the first part, your skills. But then the other part is you also need to invest. Passive income is also another great source of income. And if you have been following Nairametrics or this show, frequently, you'll have seen the different things you can invest in to yield income, over a period of time. So yeah.
All right. So, well, let's try and bring it home this way. And let me ask you my own question. So I wake up in the morning, I'm feeling a bit down. I have little, should I say, money, but I'm skilled in different ways. What is the best way to turn my finances around? Which is a normal worry of an average Lagosian.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
I'm like, I've woken up this morning and I'm feeling let down as usual. I don't have much money, but I need to just spring up. What are the best steps to take in order to make my finances grow? I see you laugh, smiling, Loretta.
Yeah. Okay, I woke up today. I had no plan. I need money, so I'm just going to go out and find money. It's pretty much like that on so many days. There are people that woke up one day and realized that, hey, I cannot continue to do like this. So decide to take a walk to the market and see whether there's something they could do, or go online. Hey, I know how to do this, come and buy. As long as there's productivity, it's only imminent that there's a level of results. So if the result is bad, you can take that as feedback, as, okay, maybe this is the best thing to do. But too vaguely, just step out and do what you know how to do for work. That's it. I don't think there's anybody that does not have a skill or anything at all. Whether if you're educated, you have a more formal not, you have a handwork. But at the end of the best way, the best phase of use to invest is, do something, put your hands to whatever work you know how to do already. And if you don't know how to learn something like, it looks like graphic design is working, and how to do graphic design, and then you make your money. It's only after you have built that you can now start saying, where do I invest it, your dreams, but you can make money off skills. Yeah. Welcome to my TED.
Yeah, let me add up to what she said, just for listeners' benefit. I think you see the key to success in life, based on trackings or historicals of these billionaires, is that you must have passion, you must be disciplined, and perseverance comes in play. So what I'm basically saying is that there's actually no silver bullets to opportunities, to lifelong opportunities, other than those three. So, for example, if you know your strength is in creativity, you spend a lot of time on it, you understand. And trust me, the compounding interest is usually amazing. Also, if you know you have intellectual skills, you do courses, you don't have to just sit down and say, okay, well, I have to do masters or PhD or things like that. You could do short courses and keep upgrading because see, the truth about it is that we still have a lot of job opportunities. We take a look at the blockchain. Look at the INR, for example. The INR is going to create thousands of jobs across spectrum. And this is an opportunity for Nigerians to take advantage of this spectrum to optimize or monetize themselves. So I don't see the narrative of just being vague about the fact that money will just come to you. You need to really pay the price. And that's what people don't really need to understand. Every successful investor at some point paid the price. And the price is perseverance, working hard, and living a good life. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Eludie and Loretta. It's been fantastic having you on the program. Thank you for the insightful views and pointing us in the right direction, especially for a lot of us that are confused on what to do with our finances, how to get it right. You'll have a great day to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right then. Bye. All right.